Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Does it display the right name here? Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it looks like you. Unless you want a new name.
No, sometimes someone else logged into my account and sometimes it uses the other one.
You did a great job. There's Gail. Let me how do I follow a thread of thoughts till the end, Tina Marie. Hi everybody, we're recording already. This is Tina Marie and I'm adding in Carolina, who's going to be your hostess with the mostest on the Zoom. Invite. Default. You guys get to meet each other.
Even though we have stuff about
Carolina. And I just did it. I sent it. Okay.
Hi, thank you. Got it.
Hi, Brian. I hear Brian's in the room. Hi.
See you. How are you?
Good to see you. Awesome. Get you in person. What a joy.
He has a great smile.
Oh, come here. Come show everybody your smile. It's the best smile. Got great energy too. And he's very Buddhic with his bald head.
Yeah, you have a fabulous smile.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm working on it.
Woo!
I'm working
Just
on it.
receive it. Just receive it.
Nice to meet you again.
That's Gail.
And
That's Arvon. He's one of our coaching clients.
okay,
Yeah.
Ervon,
Well,
welcome.
this is my daughter. My offspring is here.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Listen, if you can hear me.
Yeah. This is Coach Brian.
I'm
Yay.
excited.
Glad to have you here. We got some meditative music going on. I just feel like oming.
I just did that. I was like, I love this. I was like, I love this. I'm pretty sure I have it on a playlist.
This is awesome.
Thanks.
So in the Zoom room, would love you to post something that made your day today. Right. So just add in, hey, I'm joining from this place and this is what made my day today. We're going to go energy rich. If you guys know me, we always start off with ones and celebrations. So that's what we're going to do. And then how are you? Are you in? You're not in. Oh, and, have you take over the chat? Have you take over the chat and then the pulling people in? Hi, Bijan. Thanks for joining. Wow, we got the whole family in the room tonight. This is awesome. Huh?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. Good to have you here. You get to see a different side of me.
That's right. It's so good.
You get to see me like in front of a room instead of just at the table. And I'm not doing stand-up comedy tonight. Sorry.
No? Oh, it's too bad. We're looking forward to it.
I might have to leave.
Stand-up comedy. Always need different colors. No, these are great. These are good colors. I'm gonna post it. I'm gonna post it. I had notes. I knew what I was gonna say.
Madison Jones is on the Zoom. Awesome. Hey, Gail. Couple of new faces I don't know. James, I think I've met you.
Yes, good afternoon. I think we met before at Tina's office.
Right? We met here in the office?
We have.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
Lewis.
And maybe Arvon. I've met Arvon, maybe. I don't know.
We'll just have him take over. He'll be a lot more fun than me. I just awesome.
Do you know this person?
Yeah, I sure do. Yes.
Have I met him?
No. Dijon is Arvan's dad.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm
James
Jackie.
Lee is rock star
Nice to
extraordinaire,
meet you.
supply chain logistics.
Yeah.
Like total pro.
And Gail, we must have kept you up too late, huh? You decided not to come in person because we stayed late last time?
You have understood me thoroughly. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. I'm
I'm
glad
not
you
in
feel heard.
pajamas yet, however.
I told you, that's the only time I've ever seen her go late, ever.
And they are in.
Yeah, crazy, right?
Exactly. I survived. I'm
Yeah.
getting better.
Awesome. Hi, Lewis.
So if you guys can meet later, that'd be great. You might have some words of wisdom.
Did you sign in? Lewis?
Okay, we're gonna get started here. In case you don't know where you're at, this is like that airplane thing where you get buckled in and then they say over the loudspeaker, just in case you didn't know, this flight is taking you from here to there. I have yet to see somebody stand up and go, oh my God, I'm on the wrong plane. But what we're doing tonight is we are learning how to overcome negativity and how to be in the sphere of negativity, understand what it is, what it's teaching us, and how to transform that for ourselves and others. And that's what we're doing tonight. Is this a good depiction of me? How are you wanting to do the production? Is this how we're going to do the camera? Okay, good. Just making sure. Okay. Sounds good. Carolina is not in the room, so she will be, and she will be your master of communications here. And I will pop into the chat a form that does everyone have a handout that was left on your clipboard? And it says Rise Above Negativity Lecture. Great. We're going to be using that, and I'm going to drop it into the chat so everyone can have that. Hi, Kristen.
Hello, how are you?
Good. You got to experience Houston traffic, right?
I went like 11 miles longer than I needed to, but it was faster. So you get? Yeah.
Google Maps. That's okay. I'm going into the chat and I'm dropping in a handout that we're going to be referencing. They're mainly prompts for us to think in a different way. I find for myself, whenever I get to think in a different way, I usually open up something that I didn't know was possible. And that's the joy of being non-attached to the outcome, which can actually give us a lot of freedom in that. Okay. So I was going to see if anybody did want to introduce me, although everybody here in the room, except for Gail, knows who I am. Maybe a couple people on Zoom.
Except for Gail.
Gail sort of knows who I am. I'm her mother's career coach.
Okay. Yes, I was going to introduce you.
Fair enough.
Yes, so I was going to introduce Tina Marie, and she already told you everything we're going to do tonight. So, you know, who Tina Marie is, Gail, is she's a life coach. She's a business coach. She helps people change their life and turn their life around to live the life they'd love to live, is what she says. And she's the creator of Abolish Your Inner Saboteur, which is an amazing event that's happening in April. And so we've been doing these events and having her be here and show tools from the event so that people can get introduced to what she's doing. And tonight she's going to talk about, she already told you, overcoming negativity. And yeah, so Tina Marie.
Thanks.
Round of applause.
Awesome. Thank you. I just put her in this place so I can hear what she says about me. Like, what is she gonna say? Smart, right, Brian? Good strategy there, coach. So I wanted to start us off tonight. Can I have one of those handouts? Wait, I'll grab this one. I wanted to start off, I love having discussions. Being a keynote speaker in the past, it felt distancing to simply speak to the audience. I like to engage, and that way we all walk away, including myself, with something of a newness and a new perspective and a new way of being. Who's game for newness tonight? Yes, that's you too on Zoom. Arvon. Raise that hand. Okay, both hands. Good. And so I'm curious, and you can type in the chat. Carolina will be monitoring your communications and let me, because I can't read it directly here, but she'll be letting me know what you're communicating. So you're part of the group here in the room. The first question is, what had you interested in being here in the seats or on the Zoom from what you read about the event tonight? What was evocative to you about our topic tonight? Who would love to share? Crickets. Who hears crickets? Yes, Carolina.
The word rise is what I wanted to hear, listen about. Hi, so we fall, right? And we
Rise.
feel crummy and we feel like, all we can see is the floor. So I like the word rise because it recognizes that we are on the bottom. And then
We can be down toward the bottom. Yes. That's awesome. You love the word rise. That had energy to you, right? Awesome. Who else would love to share about what brought you here? Yes, Lewis.
Transformation is inferred in all of this language,
Mhm.
and there's nothing more powerful than changing circumstances to me.
Mhm.
So I'm not that.
Transformation was evocative to you.
Yeah.
Is there a moment that you could share with us in your life where transformation really helped take you to a next level?
Yeah, it's. I have to talk about some darker stuff. Is that okay?
Yeah. If you're
Sure.
honored in that place, yes.
Yeah,
This is a
so-
confidential,
No
safe.
negativity, man.
Yeah.
So Dr. Jackie said, no negativity, man. So that's funny. But what I'm inviting Lewis to share is that we have these seasons of our becoming
Yeah.
where it can look dark, it can look as though it's not moving. There's different, identifiers there, yet it's also an invitation. So I was wondering if Lewis could share where he feels safe there to help us have some connection tonight.
So I was in a facility, drug and rehab, alcohol rehab facility. I had a very rough time. And I was homeless, moneyless, penniless, friendless, all that. And I found myself in this place where I never thought I'd be. And as I'm in this facility, if you know anything about the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous, the third step is we turned our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him, praying only for his knowledge for us and the wisdom to carry it out. And I couldn't get my head around it. I couldn't wrap my head around what that meant. Is God going to keep me from walking in front of a bus? Is God going to keep me from getting a terminal illness? How is God? How do I I don't understand what to do. And this old biker explained it to me in a very specific way. He was one of the counselors there. And he had dragons tattooed on his arms. And he was looking like he grabbed my shoulders and he looked at me and he's like, he said, it sounds to me like you believe in God. I said, with all my heart. And he says, so when you cannot handle something, you need to turn it over to something greater than yourself. Call it whatever you want. And I finally got it. And when I did that, when I accepted that fact that I had turned my back on spirit and not the other way around, that I just felt I didn't need that. I could do it on my own. Self-will run riot, as they said. So I saw a flash of green light and I wept and wept and wept, and I slept for the first time in months. I went to my room and didn't even have dinner that night. I went and I slept the whole night, and I slept peacefully and soundly. And when I woke up the next day, I wasn't craving drugs. And I wasn't craving alcohol.
So what I hear is that those words, you had a transformational moment
I did.
that was an opening, a breakthrough that gave you a different perspective on something
Yes.
that, okay. So this is fundamental. I want us to take some notes here. Thank you, Lewis. You didn't even know you were going to seed something for us this evening. The first question on here is what do we, what's important to recognize between positivity and negativity? We live in a dualistic, could we agree we live in a dualistic world?
Yeah.
Which means that there's a right and a wrong, a black and a white. We have this want inside of our own minds to create division. And division in itself is merely a form of safety. Is to create a smaller container that we feel safe in, because if I can identify myself here and find other people that identify themselves here, then I'm part of something and I'm not alone. Right? So division in its essence, in the human mind, the lower mind, the reptilian brain, creates connection, ironically. Do you guys see that? So that's where you have tribes of lions combating with each other. They're combating with each other, yes, for resources, but more than that, so they're not alone. Right? They're in a collective, even in something that looks divisive. Right? So this, thank you, because what you've helped me also write down, which we're going to go into tonight, is the attachment to an outcome. Where there is positivity or negativity, which we're going to each individually speak into tonight, there will be an attachment to an outcome. Where we have an attachment or an expectation or a blueprint, we then create this protective nature of it, of the right or wrong, the duality, so that we can understand it or defend it. And where we're going to learn how to rise above negativity is being aware of these things, because once we have an awareness, we can change it. If we do not have an awareness, we can't change anything, right? So thank you, Lewis, for your bravado, courage, vulnerability, forthcomingness, and the seed into tonight's lecture. Let's start off with this first question. Why is it important to recognize positivity and negativity? And I gave a couple little cheat statements there earlier. What does having the dualistic nature of positivity and negativity do for us as humans? When you have a thought, it's right, you can change, share it. Positivity, if that's correct. And negativity. What does it serve?
Choice,
Choice.
discernment,
Mhm. Perspective, yes. Is there an inherent nature here in positivity versus negativity where there's a toward or an away? Do we want to move toward positivity and away from negativity? I mean, as a general rule, is that what we tend to think? We move towards something and away from something else? So if this has the toward, this is meaning I'm moving toward it. And this is the away, I'm moving away from it.
I just think of a magnet, like science.
Mhm. Polar opposites. So
Repelled by one.
repelled, repelling. And this is attracted to. Whenever we're attracted to something, what are some characteristics of the attraction? You can write in the notes here. And then Carolina can tell me what you're writing. What are some of the characteristics of attraction?
feelings, emotions.
Such as what?
uh,
There's feelings on both ends.
Safety.
Uh-huh.
Peace,
Yes.
love, joy,
Uh-huh.
connection,
Uh-huh. What about beauty?
absolutely.
Beauty. And on this side, what are characteristics of the away? Hello.
Discuss.
Rejection.
Rejection? Say again, did I hear disgust? What else?
James Lee said control.
Control, thank you, James.
Fear,
Fair enough.
anger,
Okay, it's pretty strong, right? It's there, right? I mean, think of things that you hear people say that you just think, yeah, I don't want to be part of that, right?
That's what they say. I hate
Regret?
that.
Judgment,
Gail said contraction.
contraction. Unless you're having a baby. We want that, right?
That's got the
Ooh, okay.
ultimate. That's right.
All words have multiple meanings, right? Depends on the perspective, which I think, Gail, did you say perspective? Was that, who said perspective? Hmm? Ah, it was from your energy of the family here.
She also said danger for negative.
Danger, uh-huh. So danger, the opposite of safety, right? Yes,
Gail online said contraction. I'm sorry, yeah, regression,
regression.
regression from James.
So it's great that we have an understanding of this, right? And I think we can all agree that we're human and we have these perspectives. It's a common, we could shake our heads and go, yes, this is, we could agree on this. There's some fundamental things that we're going to get to that create negativity, that my want is that we open up this container with curiosity, and things that we can go back into the world. After tonight, we go back into the world and we see things in a different way, in a more loving, more open, more aware way, right? How does negativity, in our understanding of it right now, affect ourselves and others? How does negativity affect a person, the effects of it?
Maybe just listen.
Uh-huh.
James said it could cause paralysis.
Mhm.
Stagnation.
Yeah, hesitation,
Depression.
depression. You said stagnation, stress. Yes,
Anxiety.
exactly. What about avoidance?
Apprehension.
Doubt.
So distrust, right? Apprehension, doubt, distrust, right? All these things are effects of that.
Weariness.
Draining, yeah, weariness.
I have an industry where I feel a lot more negativity than I did in another industry because of people involved on a regular basis. So that's.
So if you didn't hear that, Kristen shared that she's working in an industry now where there's a lot more negativity than you experienced in your prior industry, and it's hard. It's hard how?
To me, it's hard to see the positive one and not to get sucked in the toxic.
Want to listen to some of our language, right? So one of our evenings here, we did a transformation triangle. I don't know if you guys can see this board. A transformation triangle, and language is part of the transformation triangle, and the language is the stories that we say and the words that we choose to use to define those stories, right? And so you said the word hard was one, and then you just had another one I wanted to write. Sucked in.
Like you're trying, I'm trying to not.
To avoid getting sucked in, right? You can feel that. I mean, it's a nervous system response. We can all like go, I don't want to be sucked into this.
Negativity tends to have a gravitational pull.
I love that. So there's a person in the room, his name's Angel. Angel. The angel in the room said it's a black hole. I love it. But we get it, right?
It also feels like, you know, I think of black holes and you notice that negativity also feels like it's
Yeah.
like you're in a cage.
Uh-huh. That's
There's
over here.
something Oppressive.
Limiting, oppressive. Okay. You guys are doing great. I love this. I love this talk. I give this talk in corporate America with teams. And it's the outcome is to rebuild trust in a team. Because when drama and or negativity are apparent in the communications and the things in a team, It creates distrust. You don't want to collaborate. Everybody's in it for themselves. There's one foot out the door. Can I escape this? And so the performance is low and your top players leave, right? And so it's important. It's important to rebuild trust and have an atmosphere of collaboration, trust, and connectivity, which we would term as positivity, right? And so next level, what influences negativity? What brings it about? What triggers it in someone or something or an environment? You know, we need to really peel back the onion and say, okay, because truth be told, do we believe if we say negative people, are negative people negative all the time? A part of them, right? And did negative people start out negative?
No.
Okay, so somewhere there were triggers, there were conditions that brought this about in a way of being for this person, right? So what are those triggers? What are those influences that bring about negativity? Yes, Kristen? Expectations not being met. So missed blueprints, right? Yes? What? Resentment? Another form of hurt?
Gossip.
Gossip?
Commiserating, but gossip is the same thing.
Commiserating. Big word. It is one of the C's. We're gonna talk about the C's. Yeah. Anything from our Zoom crowd? On what influences negativity?
James Lee said, broken commitments can bring negativity and distrust.
Broken commitments, also known as lies. Right? And if you're taking notes, the truth is we lie to ourselves more than anybody else does. Right.
Yeah, said habit.
Habit of negativity? I'm like, what triggers that habit? So to build a habit, there has to be things that started that and then it works. And even though it's not working, it works, we continue it.
Jealousy.
Jealousy?
Fear.
Yes, fear. All of this is a form of fear, right? So at Bonfire, we talk about above the line, below the line. And above the line are what we would consider the positivity, growth, love, connection, contribution. We have enough energy inside our system to meet another person, see them, be interested in them, and really have the time and want to listen. And really listen to understand and connect versus listen to manipulate or control, right? There's different forms of listening. We've probably all been there, right? Below the line is the negativity side, which is driven primarily by certainty. And certainty is wanting an outcome because we attach something that means something to us to that outcome. So what I want us to examine is why would negativity, what does it serve? Because people, we agree they're not birthed in negativity. They're not 100% negative. We're not 100% negative, but something's triggering it. And 100% of someone's behavior is driven because they're wanting to get their needs met. Their needs are the dominating driver of decisions, thought forms, actions, behaviors, all of it are needs. And as a reminder, we did this in a class a couple weeks ago, right? The needs are, number one is certainty. Guess I could do a quiz to my coaches. What's number two? What's the next need? Uncertainty.
Variety.
Is variety. And then significance. Significance is the third human need. And then above the line is love and connection, growth and contribution. These are the above the lines. These are the positivity. These are the negativity. How is certainty, uncertainty, and significance negative? It's because it's low vibrational energy that keeps these going. And this is all rooted out of safety. And I don't want to be cast out of my tribe. I want to have certainty, especially significance. Look at me. This is what I'm about. This is my title. This is what I believe. This is what I know. This is how I am, my full identity. Identity in its essence will keep us trapped and very triggerable in negativity. As long as we have negativity in our life, I mean, as long as we have the drive for certainty and significance, we are very close to having a negative outlook on life and being sucked in, as you said. Your eyebrows are doing this. What are your thoughts doing behind the eyebrows? False sense of safety?
Well, like when you're negative, you're kind of justifying to yourself,
That's a behavior.
like that you're justifying. It's so like, it's so terrible, like I should feel this way. And
Because you
you're
want to
just
be
creating-
together.
Yeah, and you're just creating that,
It's all false.
consoling yourself. It's like a false sense. of-
Yeah, false sense of connection, false sense of love, false sense of safety, false sense of belonging. It's false. It's an illusion. It doesn't work. Sometimes it works, but it's not working, right? There's a difference there. Whenever I say it works, because you do get your needs met, you feel certain for a moment. It could be negative. I can complain about something and then people on Facebook go, yeah, you're right. And you're like, yay, I have a tribe. I have a tribe behind me that believes the same thing. It's awesome, right? And that gives us certainty, but it also gives us significance. I'm not alone. And ironically, it gives us a sense of love and connection. Even though it's not the true love we want, it's a flash in the pan, right? It's not sustainable. So that's why we have to complain again and complain again and complain again. And so that's the pattern that you're talking about, Gail. The habit of complaining meets our needs, but it's not fulfilling. It doesn't fulfill anyone, right? And have you ever been in that place where maybe you've been in the conversation and you've been sucked in and you are also either complaining or commiserating with that conversation, and then you leave it and you go, wow, that didn't feel good. That wasn't really me. What happened there? You know, shake it off. Shake it off. That's not me.
I compare it to fast food.
You compare it to fast food? He compares it to fast food. I love this. Tell us.
It satisfies your taste buds for the moment, but it's not filling, and then you need more.
It's
and
not
more.
nutritious
It's not
either.
nutritious, and you constantly need more and more and more and more. Never ends.
And you get fat. You
And
get
you
fat
get-
with negativity.
Absolutely.
So you guys ready to rise above this? We need to first define it, right? Like, what are we dealing with here? In all honesty, because it is an experience in the world that we can have, right? There's this amazing Zen koan I love, and it is the thief, he left them behind, the moon in my window. Just take that in. The thief, he left them behind, the moon in my window. Isn't that fun? What do you take from that? Lewis has his eyes closed. He's absorbing it. What do you take from that one simple koan? The thief, he left them behind. The moon in my window. Lewis.
Elimination.
Well, it's, I mean, I know about koans and they're meant to clear the mind. They don't, they're undiscernible by design, but I can't help but listen to it, hear poetry and be, it's reaching for the sublime, something that can't be the ineffable. It's, and it gets me in connection with that. I go immediately into the world of poetry and beauty, which is definitely above the line,
Mhm.
and that all roads lead to heaven.
Is there on offer in that instance, if you're that person in their dwelling who realizes that everything from him has been taken, but his perspective is to say, the thief, he left them behind, the moon in my window. Do you feel the non-attachment? to the stuff? Do you feel judgment in the thief by this person? No, it's a release. Would he have had every justification to be negative? And to say a sad story, to be bitter, to be angry? I share that koan. It was a very transformational koan for me at the age of 28 by one of my mentors, Olok Shikwanghan. And we sat at a table many mornings and looked over at Thunder Mountain and had tea. The essence of negativity, as he said to me, is it's simply the absence of love. It's simply the absence of something. Nothing's been put upon it. And the only thing taken away is perspective. So let's remap these things, shall we? And then I'm going to give you some strategies on how you can go into the world. And I think each one of us were drawn here tonight and on Zoom, and whoever listens to this in the future from the recording, are we recording?
Yes.
I was hoping, because some people wanted, yeah, we're good. That's good. It is what it is. To have a different perspective of life. Right? And if one of us has changed, then there's a part of everyone that's changed. And it's my hope that we change for a sense of belonging as opposed to separation. So I'm just going to remap this backwards. If the triggers and the stacking and the provocation of a negativity in someone is because of expectations not being met, or a big one is just simple hurt, feeling hurt, which could simply be not believing that I've been listened to or heard or valued. There's different forms of hurt, right? It even goes down deep into betrayal and feeling like we've been lied to and manipulated and hurt and really disrespected, right? And if all of these things come from an essence of fear or loss, or the fear of loss and the not having, if that is what triggers this, and then the effects of it become stress and stagnation and anxiety and avoidance and depression and hesitation and paralysis and drainedness and a feeling oppressed or justifying, and we have these ways of being that this is showing up in our life, right? We see evidence of it. We feel the evidence of it. And then these are what we feel and see. What if instead of seeing it as negativity and judging it, because when we judge it, we separate from it. When we judge it, we try to protect ourselves from it. When we judge it, we try to make it that, and we're something different. And as soon as we have separation, we don't have understanding. There isn't healing. So if instead, there's a couple words I say, and if you've been in conversation with me at any time and have witnessed this, and Jackie sees it a lot, there's a word you could just say whenever you feel or sense the mind wanting to judge, because the lower mind wants to judge to keep you safe. That's all it is. The lower mind wants to judge to keep anyone safe, anyone on the planet. If instead we just recognize it and have an observer conscious about it and go, wow. And Jackie walks in right as I say this. This one word you'll hear, I say this, if you're ever around me, you'll hear me say this a lot. What's the word I say whenever something appears negative or I'm just in the place of it not being something? You know, it's literally a container of, well, there's judgment possible here. Instead of judging, this is going to come out.
That was interesting.
I go, interesting. Interesting. Wow, interesting. Huh. Because I'm not connected to it. I'm not attaching to it. I go, wow, it's interesting. And I'm doing it genuinely. I'm not doing it sarcastically. I'm doing it like, wow, this is really interesting. Another word you may choose is fascinating. It is, it's fascinating. Wow, this is a different perspective. I didn't expect that reaction in someone, or I didn't expect that reaction in me. If I find myself being negative or judgmental or disrespectful or in fear, I just, wow, that's interesting. Where's this coming from? And if we find ourselves curious about it, we can change it. Remember that sense of wonder? If we have a curiosity about something, we're not attaching to it. The thief, he left them behind the moon in my window. He's not attached to it. It's interesting. Huh. The most valuable parts in that koan for this man or woman is the window and the moon. It's nothing else. And so the conversations we find ourselves in, if we find ourselves getting angry or fearful or attached to an outcome and not having those expectations being met, or we feel we're in a negative circle, if instead you go in with the energy of interesting, you're changing the dance. And when we change the dance changes. It is interesting. What are thoughts about that first strategy? And whoever says interesting first gets a bonus point. What are some thoughts about? What are you taking in this moment from it? Do we have air on tonight or not? It's getting a little warm. Okay.
I've used the word curious.
Curious.
But it gives you time.
It does give you time.
Time to hit the pause button, which is what I think you're trying to do.
Yes. The non-attachment button.
Yeah.
Take a breath. Right?
How would you say?
How would I say what?
Why would you say that?
What?
That's what when people start rambling, why would you say that? And then they have to be like, oh, they pause and think about, okay, why am I saying that?
Mhm.
Did I just start, talking because somebody else was talking crap and it's kind of that, you said, involved?
Right.
I would do that one. Why would you say that?
So say curious. Curious. Why would you say that? It is in the tone. It is in the delivery. Because I could say curious. Why would you say that? I mean, like, we can have a different tone of things, and it can be triggery. Our tone in our body language can be triggery, right? So if we put ourselves in a state of genuine fascination, it changes the outcome of the person in front of us. This works really well if you're being bullied. Who's ever been bullied? Everybody raise their hand. Who's been bullied? Yeah, okay, we've been bullied. Hi, Mindy. Just imagine, take yourself to the place where you were being bullied. I'm taking myself to the place. Her name was Adriana, and she was on our playground. And we go out for recess, and you can go do whatever you want. Play dodgeball, so we do on the monkey bars, the whole thing, right? So we're out there, and I'm upside down doing something on something, right? And she comes over with one of her friends, and she's talking smack about the bullia that is, I was, what do you call it whenever you're very white pigmented? I was an albino. Yes, that. So she's like, she's albino. And this is one of the things that I remember from 5th grade. She said, "You're so white, the satellites can see you from outer space." And so I remember that young version of myself wanting, the hurt was coming up. The hurt was coming up. It's on offer. It's always on offer. The trigger of the nervous system in a hurt, retaliation, reactive, painful place, wanting to fight or prove or defend is always on offer. Always on offer. For some reason, this 5th grade version of myself came up and I went, huh, interesting. And I just remember saying interesting to this very large person in front of me. And I'm like, okay. And then I just went on about my way. She never bullied me one more time after that because there was no hooks in. She didn't get her needs met. I didn't react. She didn't get her needs met of causing that pain. And it was almost like water off a duck's back, but I genuinely remember just standing in front of her going, I mean, I thought it was funny, actually. I was like, that's a good one. But interesting. Okay. It didn't attach to me. Another version of this, if anybody calls you something, and bullies like to call you things, like she was calling me a name, right? Is if instead of you take that on as an identifier and want to defend against it, just imagine them calling you, I don't know, purple. Like, wow, you look so purple, Cindy. What's wrong with you? You know, does that attach to you? There's no identifier with it. Like, well, I don't get this, you know, right? Most people are going to attack or form hurt bonds because they're attacking a part of us that we have identity within. And once they match that up, it can create pain. But if instead we just think that, wow, they just told me I'm purple. They don't really know me. So it isn't going to matter to me. It matters if I'm curious and it's like, help me understand. Like you said, help me understand, where is this coming from? And you're genuinely curious about it. If you're not curious about it, just let it go. And then they'll stop because they're not getting their needs met. It's fun stuff. And it really rattles a lot of people that build their identity and their power on making other people feel bad or trying to control them. You guys getting this? Yeah. So some things to take away on your notes are interesting, tell me more, which is down here on the strategies to rise above negativity on your sheet. The language patterns are interesting, tell me more. And that has to be from genuine concern and interest, not just flippant sarcasm. We can do that. We can go, interesting, tell me more. Because I'm wanting to have a little bit more fodder before I attack you. You know, like, okay, tell me more of this ridiculous statement that you're making, right? But instead, if you go, interesting, tell me more, there's usually no substance under things that are hurtful. Besides, you know, wanting to hurt somebody, which isn't, it doesn't stand on its own feet. Curious, fascinating, and then let it go, change the subject. Whenever we engage with somebody on something that we know is of a negative sense, we can feel it. You don't even need to term it negativity. You just know that it feels repelling in its in its essence, right? We know that it feels, I mean, you even said I get sucked in. You know, you could feel it. I mean, that's got warning lights on it. That's like standing in the road with cars coming at you for 80 miles an hour. Wouldn't you get out of the way? We hope you get out of the way. We have the choice of engaging in whatever these conversations are, or gracefully bowing out because it's not worth our time and energy. If there are people in your life where most of this gets brought up in conversations with couples, with family members, with people that we have intimate bonds with and we want to have love from, whenever these appear in those types of relationships, it's a different dynamic. This is where we do want to go into the interesting, tell me more, and we want to create space for it. If we're in a reactive sense, if we feel reaction, that's not the best time to talk. Right? Would you agree? Would you agree? It's like, oh. We got to get space to get home, right? But if those things come at us and we're like, oh, like, I want to say something, it's up to us to realize this is not the best space for me to speak from. You know, you're important to me. This feels like it could possibly get heated. I want to put myself in a space where I can hear you. That's not the space right now. I'm going to exit and go take a couple breaths. I'll be back in a few minutes. That's important. We can't just bolt. If we get reactive or we feel that hurt, those things going in, and we're like, I'm not going to take this, I'm leaving, and we leave, that's called bolting. Bolting increases the negativity in the conversation, not healing it. They're saying, hold on a second, you matter to me, this is important to me, you have something to express, I'm not in a hearable place right now, need to shift my energy, I'm going to take 5 minutes, I'll be right back. And keep your promise. Whenever it's an intimate conversation and there's what we would consider negativity, it takes one person to open the container of courage. And it's not like you're receiving the words because they're personal. You're receiving the words because the person in front of you feels hurt. When they feel hurt and you love them, you want to hear what's going on. Just don't take their words personally. And just say, okay, I'm hearing you. And it takes courage, it takes breathing, it takes reposturing ourselves. It takes not taking notes. Well, whenever I get a chance to speak, I'm going to refute that one. You're wrong there. And as soon as I hear when it's my turn to talk, you're going to get an earful. That isn't how we do this. We let it go because it's all said from hurt. And things that are said from hurt and fear, are they true? In the majority of their essence?
Mindy says no.
They're not. They're an illusion.
This is a story.
there's a false story. There's a false story. What is true underneath fear and hurt is the fear and the hurt. The lack of love in that space. Would it be wonderful if you could have an argument or a tense conversation with someone and they go, I'm here to listen. Give it to me. What's going on? And you not take it personally and you go, where'd this come from? I'm interested. Tell me more about this. And they finally feel heard. Wouldn't you love to feel heard? Because usually we talk ourselves out of our own black hole. You know, the word that Hill said. And we realize that we may have made some of these things up. And we realize that maybe we exaggerated, because hurt and fear will definitely exaggerate the situation. It makes it bigger because the scarier it is, the farther away we'll run from it, and the safer we'll be. Ironically, we're not together, but we're safe. Aloneness is the ultimate safety and the ultimate pain. So when it's an intimate conversation, instead of leaning away from negativity and judging it, I would give you the courage to go in, not to be right, but to open the container of love and say, I really would love to understand this more. You will shift the dance in such beautiful ways, you can't even measure it. You'll create bonds and trust and respect in your beloved that nothing gets in between. But it's allowing someone to process themselves, not you process them. We don't need to be fixed. There's none of us that are broken. We're not broken. We just got moments where the part of our lower mind says these things or does these things, and it's because we're not in our consciousness. What questions do you guys have? I'm going to erase this. Take a picture. I'm going to erase this, and we're going to do something. What questions do you guys have online? Oh, it's warm in here. They did not turn on the air. I think they turned on the air. They do not charge us for that then. $45 an hour. Wow. Yeah. It is. Okay. Is this fun? Is this fun so far? Okay. I'm going to keep that. We're going to do this. Okay. So I'm going to give you a really easy way of seeing this, because that's a whole lot of words and I like simple. I like simple. The KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid.
Sweetie.
Sweetie, the
Keep it
sweetie
simple,
method?
sweetie.
Is that the sweetie method? Keep it simple, sweetie. I like that too. Okay, so this is called the 5 C's. We're going from the 5 C's to the 5 A's. I grew up with the grading system being C was average and A was excellent, right? I love to win. So I made it a point to win all the spelling bees. I made it a point to have the straight A's, and that was my inner competition with me. So the 5 C's to the 5 A's are going to be going from what we would consider a container of negativity to a container of positivity. But in essence, I'm hoping by the end of this, you're seeing that they're the same thing. They're just acted out in different ways. Okay, so the 5 C's, the first one, they all begin with C. That's a hint, right? So I'm going to have you help me. The first one I'm going to give you is complaining. Whenever we're either complaining as an activity we're participating in, or if we're around people that are complaining, what's that energy like? We're getting body movements like this. Oh, we had people go.
Draining.
It's draining. Now, whenever you say that draining, was that, in all honesty, from the perspective of hearing someone complain? So have we ever complained? So we're also draining others. Okay, just making sure we're all in the same place. It's either way, us doing it or being a receiver of that. So that's draining, right? The next one is being critical, criticizing. Criticizing and complaining, a little different. Being critical is that's right, or that's not good enough, or, you know, very in the measuring of right and wrong in a critical way. being hypercritical of things. The next is commiserating. Brian mentioned that earlier. What does commiserating mean?
Think about pity party.
Pity party? Mhm.
Join in.
Giving energy to the negative people.
Telling the story, right? The negative story. And do we commiserate by ourselves? It involves others. We're broadening our army. We're like, okay, I've got this complaining down, and now I need other people on board. Can you see how that can meet people's needs? They don't feel alone, right? So we take that belief system and spread it out, right? Complaining, criticizing, commiserating, condemning. Condemning is judging. And this is pretty much like a blanket, condemnation of something. As examples, men are, or women are, or Gen X is, or politicians are, or, so it's that just condemnation, the whole kit and caboodle. No one escapes. No one escapes the condemnation. It makes it really big. So this is going from like one to many, right? The biggest one, the biggest C is comparing. And all of these can happen very subtly without us even having consciousness about it. So I'm going to act out a visual of comparing. In comparing, our thought stream or even our language and what we focus on could easily compare ourselves to others, right? That's what we tend to think of. Well, that person has that, and why don't I have that? And after all I've all done, I should have this. And we compare ourselves outward. There's also the comparison of ourselves to a version of ourselves where we used to have it going on. Back in my 30s, I was a size 6. Oh my God, damn menopause, what has happened? And so we make this version of ourselves at a certain point in our life the good part, the part that was better, which inherently makes the present what? And wrong. Ouch, right? Then we also have the comparison of from where we are to where we haven't been yet. In the future, well, whenever I get there, then, and until I have that, then this won't happen. And we make the future better and more shiny than the present moment. Can you see how the past robs the present and the future robs the present? And then in this place, nothing feels good enough. It's the biggest, I like to say virus. Before the pandemic, I used to use that word a lot. But it's like, and I call it a human potential virus. We virus our potentiality. We're like putting caps on it. And more than that, we're just cutting ourselves off at the knees from being able to rise above this behavior, thought form, focus, which all of us have the possibility of doing. But as soon as we do the 5 A's, this moves our energy. So for each one of us, we get to say, truthfully, am I doing this? And instead of doing it, I invite you to do these A's, right? The first is to have an awareness of it. Awareness. When we have awareness, that's the first step to changing anything. We have to have an awareness about it. Sometimes we get an awareness because we get feedback from other people that help wake us up. I had a friend, Chris, many, many, many years ago. I didn't know I was the complaining person. I didn't know that I was commiserating. I was unconscious to it. And he's a dear friend of mine. We went to dinner and he said, there's something I've been meaning to tell you. And I think it's something you'd like to have perspective on about yourself. It was hard to hear. I was very grateful for it because whenever he let me know, I'm like, whoa, I'm sorry I've been putting you through that. He was my friend and he didn't want to hurt my feelings. And so he let me vent, but venting is just another form of complaining. And he was right. I was complaining about the same thing whenever we get together and I wasn't making any changes. Right? So awareness, acknowledgement, which this means we can have an awareness, acknowledgement. Whenever we can have an awareness, but we can also go, yeah, I don't do that much. Or we have an awareness in a moment. Whenever we put the awarenesses together, we truly acknowledge it. This takes humility and, honesty with ourselves. Like, okay. This is a pattern. Got it. I'm acknowledging it. And acknowledging it, even in 12 steps, is also telling another person, I am owning that this is a pattern for me and I'm here to change it, right? Acceptance is the next level. We accept that this is happening, because if we still have any form of resistance in it at all, it will not change. We will defend it. We're over here until we accept it and decide I am going to be changing it. I don't have the fourth one. I know the last one. The last one is action. You got to take action. Awareness, acknowledgement, acceptance. Oh, thank you so much.
I have to teach.
You have to teach it. Thank you, coaches. Appreciation. We need to appreciate ourselves and our awareness and our want to change it, and that there is a change that can happen. And we look for more of what's appreciative in our life than what's negative. This is huge. When my kids were here, or my kiddo's still here, whenever they were little, and so she's watching this, she'll remember this. So whenever Maddie came down one morning and she was on fire with her brother had done something absolutely wrong, right? Got it. You can tell from body language, the tonality, what's being said, got it. So I'm going to get an earful about what's going on with Michael and Maddie. And so I said, okay, this is important to you. And can you tell me 3 things that you love about your brother first? What? No. Why would I do that? I said, just that's where we're going to start this. Tell me 3 things that you love about your brother, and then we'll talk about this thing that you're upset about. Oh, okay. And so she's like, and she came up with 1, and it took a lot to come up with 2, and then she came up with 3. And by the time she gets to 3, her body state is changing, her energy is changing, her mind's changing. And then I said, okay, great job. Awesome. You love your brother. Okay, so what is it that you came down to not to tell me that you're not happy about? I don't know. Okay. Well, when you remember, let me know. Appreciation changes the chemistry in the body. It's like you can't smile and be unhappy at the same time. So whenever we can have gratitude, even in the midst of an argument for couples, if you're in an argument, you can stop in the rage moment and go, I love you because of this. I appreciate this about you. It'll change the tone. You start laughing, you start coming off the ledge. And then by the time you get the space to talk about what you're upset about, it's actually something that's connecting as opposed to something that's resistant and oppressive, right? So appreciation is a huge chemistry changer in your body. And whenever you do that, you change your state. So instead of negativity, literally, and this is homework here. If there's anyone in your life right now that you would deem or judge to be negative as an identifier across the board with them, when you think of that person, or maybe they call you, I don't want to answer that phone call, or maybe you just think, oh, Memorial Day's coming up, I'm going to have to see this person, whatever it is, whenever you think of the negativity or whatever that judgment is, which is a 5C that you're doing for that person, think of 3 things that you can appreciate about them. That's homework. Think of 3 things you can appreciate about them. It changes your chemistry. It changes the conversation. And there's magic that happens in it. I cannot explain what it is, but whenever you can appreciate the other person, even if it's the thief that took everything and left the window in your moon there, you can appreciate that moment. The other person changes too. Even if you didn't talk to them, there's something that etherically changes with the chemistry of your bond to them, but in them to the world. Because it's changing you, it's changing them too. And it's a beautiful thing. And it's 100% worth it. The next is action. So if ever we find ourselves complaining, criticizing, commiserating, condemning, and comparing, we must say, I want to do this and I'm going to take different action. A simple different action is to stop telling the story of it being a black hole or they suck us in and all that kind of stuff. Because are they really sucking us in? We have the choice of how to participate in conversations and relationships. We do. I mean, Nelson Mandela taught us that. He was imprisoned. And he came out one of the more wise people, and he was more powerful when he wrote a book. He made use of the time of the imprisonment. And even though there's a part of him that didn't like it, he used it for the good of not only himself, but the world. We get the choice on how to be in it. It's 100% on us. There's nobody else in our life anytime controlling our thoughts. We can make that up, that it's happening. The truth is we have control over our thoughts. And that's why you're here. I don't think you came here just to, hang out. I think there's a part of you that wants to control your thoughts and your outcome and have a better life. Yeah.
James says that's a great example of Nelson Mandela.
Mm-hmm. We have the ability to control our thoughts and choose our thoughts. And someone here said choice. Because the number one thing we had in positivity was choice, right? So this is your antidote to negativity. You guys want to put it to the test? Yes. So I'd like you to pair up, just two, that's a pair, and then discuss with one another something that you may see as negative or anything on this side that you'd have the ability to frame it that way, and give a test. And the other person is going to say, well, what awareness do you have about this? Just go down it. Well, what would you acknowledge in this? What could you accept about this? What would you appreciate about this situation? And then what action do you want to take now? This is a formula for breaking through all of this, any negativity. About 6 years ago, we're eating at Snooze in the Heights. We just love to have breakfast there every now and then. And the wait staff knew us, and one of the wait staff knew us quite well. And she came in, she goes, oh my God, you have the blue Jeep, right? And we're like, yeah. And I think someone stole something out of your car. There's glass all on the floor, on the ground. I was like, shit. So I'll go out there, and yes, they had smashed and grabbed our Jeep and took my computer bag. Duh. I didn't forgotten that I had it in the back seat. So in that moment, am I angry? Hell yeah, I'm angry. I'm like, damn it. Then I'm thinking, did I have a backup with that? What do you do? Take action, all this kind of stuff. And so that day, I remember I allowed myself to feel the piss off and the anger. I'm like, I didn't like that happened. Because now, this course of events that I'm thrust into cleaning up the Jeep and all this stuff, right? So I was pissed. I drove around a little bit to see if I can find the person. Maybe they let go of the bag. They just took the computer, because I had notes in there from a course that we were taking. They were kick-ass notes. I mean, they were like kick-ass notes and handwritten notes. And so I go, those possibly are gone. I put on next door. If anybody finds this, it's me, get back to me, right? So that night I had a choice. Do I go to bed with this experience because you plant into your subconscious mind at night. If you're not familiar with the subconscious mind, it's the bigger part of your thinking and your mind. So I had the choice in that moment. Am I going to go into sleep and into my subconscious thought form with bitterness and piss off and anger and resentment, or am I going to clear this and put into it something more healthy for myself and others? And so I did prayer, went to prayer, and I visualized the person who took it. And I thought in my heart, this person must be in fear. They must be in hurt. They must have a different form of thinking of humanity. They're taking because somewhere they feel lack and loss. And so I just prayed for this person. I didn't know who this person was. I prayed for this person as best I could. And I forgave. I don't know if it was a him or a her in that moment. I went to sleep and I had a deep dream of this person. I don't know if it's real. It could be completely imaginary. But what I saw was I'm in front of the Jeep in the parking lot as the smash and grab has happened. And it was a man in my dream getting it, pulling it out, standing in front of me. And he has my computer right there. And I'm standing there watching him do this. And he looks in my eyes and there's a regret there, but there's a like an ownership, like I have to have this, I want this, I need this. And it was very much like the thief left them behind, the moon in my window. I had this moment in that dream where I went, take it. I guess you need it more than I do. And I blessed them. I said, you have the choice to stop what you're doing. And it was all in thought form, and change this action, or you have the choice to continue with this action. But regardless, I'm going to find peace inside myself. And in my dream, that was the end of the dream. In real life, that one didn't come to fruition, but there was a time back in 2002, I'm at a conference in Chicago. I need to get my CE credits for my master's, my degree in nutrition. I took my computer to this one thing. The pizza guy came, my computer wasn't there. I knew that it was the pizza guy that took my computer. I take a little taxi before Uber over to the pizza place, and I walk in. They don't have anything going on. And I walk in, it was snowing like crazy. And I walk in, and the owner walks down the hallway to me, and he meets me. And I said, hi, you guys just delivered pizza to this conference? And, oh, yeah. Who's the delivery driver on that? Oh, is this guy's name? And he's like coming in. His name was Kirtan or something like that. He's coming in the back. And I went, oh, okay, thank you. So I just walk past the owner, and I go back because he's coming in the back. And I go to him, and it's this tall, thin Indian young boy, like 19. And I held his hand and I said, hi, I'm the person you just took my computer from the thing. And I'd really like that computer back, because I don't know what you're talking about. And I was blessing him in the handshake. I was blessing him. I was purposely in the taxi ride over. I could be upset. I could be angry. I could come in there guns a-blazing because I'm Texan and Irish. And I could have let them have a piece of me in Chicago. The mob would have been going, whoa, right? But I said, no, I'm going to go in. I'm going to bless this person. I knew that in my heart of hearts, there was a reason why we were intersecting. And I went in, I held his hand, and I said, I know you're going to do the right thing. It's Christmas. It was 2 days to Christmas. And I said, I really need that computer back because I'm not sure if I backed it up, and there's a manuscript on there. And so if you could please find your way to get me that back, I'll pay for all the postage and I won't press charges. But if I don't hear from you by tonight, I'm going to involve the police and you're going to be questioned. Thank you. Here's my number. You can call me. I'm going to be at this conference. You could just drop it back by. It'll be great. He didn't drop it back by. So that night in my hotel room, I visualized, literally, actually in the room, I visualized me writing a thank you letter from him on my computer that I didn't have, but typing a thank you letter to him. Thank you so much for doing the right thing and returning my computer to me. I wish you a very, Merry Christmas, or whatever your belief system is, blah, 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 right? And I visualized that happening. That night, my friend said, you need to involve the cops, make a report, So I did. And I had a knowing that the computer was under his bed. I don't know where it comes from. The computer's under his bed. So I tell this guy, that Sergeant Michael, I told him, he met me at the hotel, and I said, I think it's in his bedroom, maybe under the bed. If you can go in, I can't go in. I need to search and all this kind of stuff. I said, well, then talk to his mom. Talk to his mom and see if mom can get it, because it's probably under his bed. And he's like, you're crazy, woman. And so, sounds great. So I leave Chicago without my computer and without my bag. No, he just took the computer. He didn't even take the power cord. He left my bag. Cool. And the next morning, as I get up, it's Christmas Eve, and the phone rings. And this is back when you had phones, like with cords and phones, like in an answering machine. And so the phone rings, and I'm wrapping presents. And I told my daughter, my stepdaughter, I said, oh, that's the police officer. So they pick up the phone, and it is. And so I talked to him. I said, hi, how you doing, Sergeant? He said, you're weird. I don't know what's going on with you, but the guy, he's sitting in front of me right now. And I said, okay, cool. So he brought the computer. He goes, yeah. And he goes, how'd you know it was under the bed? Because I just asked him, did you hide it under your bed? He goes, yeah. And you'll never guess who's also with him. It's his mom. I said, oh, that's great. So I'm not going to press charges. Can I talk to him? And I talked to him, and I said, thank you for doing what's right. And I had forgiven him. I'd already known it was going to work out. And I got the computer back. The person that I was doing the conference with, his name's Steve, he went and collected it and shipped it back to me, and I have the computer. I still own the computer to this day. But we became Facebook friends. And so he followed some of my teachings, and he started transforming his life. And so who knows what's happening? What I share that for is that underneath this is fear. I asked him, why did you take my computer? Cause and I told him, I'll buy you another computer if you just give me mine back. And so on the phone, I said, do you need a computer? I'll buy you the computer. I'll keep my word. He said, no, I got that for my friend who wanted to give it to his girlfriend for Christmas. I said, does she want a new computer? And he goes, no, that wouldn't be right. I said, okay, just see. Right? Okay. So underneath it, he wanted tribe. He wanted to do something right for his friend. He wanted his friend to have something for his girlfriend. It's all crazy stuff, right? I don't know why the person at Snooze took it. And I wish maybe someday I'll get my notes back. If you guys know of any full written notes, they're mine. But here, what I want us to leave with, and you're going to tell me what your takeaways are tonight. Because what I want us to leave with is if we focus and we believe and we project that something is negative, we're only going to see through that lens. We're already projecting because we are complaining. We are negative matching that force. We get to own that. Or we can just go, this is a lack of love. This is a lack of understanding. This is fear presencing itself here. So if instead we can just go, help me understand, let me see you, let me talk to you, what's going on? And we genuinely get curious and fascinated by another person. You, in essence, are getting genuinely fascinated with yourself. Because we're all connected. And we all slip. And we all make mistakes. And we have imperfect days. And thank God we can forgive each other. And the biggest thing is forgive yourself. So at Abolish, all this is on offer. And a magnitude. There is a process in there. I'll go ahead and scare you. It's the mirror process. But you get to see into your soul. And I guarantee you've never looked into a mirror this way before in your life, ever. It changed my life. The age of, how old was I? 25? No. I had Michael, I had Maddie, so I was 26. And when I went through this process and really looked into the mirror and saw who was looking back at me, the beauty in the eyes of that being shifted everything in my life. Number one game changer. Yeah, dogs are here. We also on Friday night, we abolish, literally it's called Abolish Your Saboteur. We face these fears, we face these things, and we realize what they truly are. By the end of the weekend, anything that feels like it's sabotage in your life, in someone else's life, or your life, or anything of that nature has completely changed. That the essence is gone. You can't, it's like trying to grapple into a wall that has no grips anymore. It doesn't serve because you see the illusion of it all. And life is actually funny. It's beautifully funny, right? And then we see love in everything. We become those annoying people. And people go, how are you so happy all the time? I'd rather be an annoying happy person than an annoying negative person, right? So what questions do you have, if any? Thoughts? What are you walking away with? What do you need more of? Type it in the chat or let's have a conversation here. I left you speechless? That's hard to believe. Or are you just tired?
They can unmute themselves.
You can unmute yourself or raise your hand, unmute yourself if you have a question. Or a thought. Or something you're walking away with. Yeah, James.
Yeah, I had a couple aha moments, but the one that I'll share is just how appreciation and gratitude can really shift perspective and just change a situation in its entirety. As you were sharing, I was thinking of a situation that happened yesterday. I ran over a crowbar, and I was so upset and just making a big deal for like 5 minutes. But the reality is that it could have been 10 times worse. My tire wasn't punctured. I was okay, and maybe it saved someone driving behind me from having an even worse day. So I think kind of using that muscle will help me shift my perspective in the entirety of my life, not just in moments like that. So thank you. I really appreciate what you shared.
Welcome. We all have the offer of finding the beauty in life or the pain. And I guarantee there's beauty in the pain. You just have to look a little deeper or shine that mirror.
I have a thought.
Yes.
So I was thinking about comparing. So like we compare others. So they have love, I don't. They have good job, I don't, and stuff like that. But in these spaces, a lot we think about manifestation, right?
Right.
I deserve love, I deserve will. So I guess does that depend on the intention where we're coming from?
Yeah, deserve has different edges to it, right? Different facets to that stone. I receive. So Jackie, you have and I know she's not prepared. She wasn't asked to prepare this. However, she has a great example of this. So whenever you were manifesting me in your life, you had a coach that helped you shift a framework that your mind was saying, why can't I have that? You know, whenever you were looking at people that were in love or people that had these passionate or seemingly passionate relationships, and it was something of an ache inside of you. So could you share how you reframed that to open up the container of gaining and getting what you truly wanted?
Yeah, so first of all, I was comparing, comparing myself to somebody else, like some couple walking down the street or whatever, seeing the grocery store, and it's like, I want that. Why can't I get that? And I would just get ticked off about it, I was like, that's what I want, And so I was talking to my coach about it. She was like, you need to bless them. And so I just started saying, like, yes, look at that relationship. That's what I want. And then I would start saying, I accept it into my life right now. And thank you, God. Thank you, universe. I accept it into my life right now. That right there. That's exactly what I want. And I associated with the emotion of it. And emotion is huge.
It's energy.
With manifesting. Yeah. I mean, I was doing a lot of other stuff, but that's what the coach helped me do, was thank the universe for me seeing that. Bless that man who had that woman who had that man, or, two women or whatever. Yeah.
So you created an open container of receptivity and allowing, as opposed to.
I allow it and I accept it and I'm worth it and I deserve it in my life and I accept it now. I actually did that 2 nights ago. The car. Last night. We looked at that place yesterday.
Yeah, we're
So
manifesting a building.
in the car.
Uh-huh.
I did that, or it might have been in the bathroom.
I've been doing that every night about 3 o'clock in the morning and for like 2 hours. I'm in, so be in the receptivity of having and claiming, not because it's due you, but because it is, right? Like right now in this room, you are here, right? And so you could find absolute gratitude for the nowness, the isness of it. And the isness, it's happening all the time. It's just, we think that time is a gap in between the having, right? In Alice in Wonderland, the Queen of Hearts asks Alice. Alice is in front of her, and the Queen of Hearts says, so what did you do tomorrow? And Alice is like, tomorrow hasn't happened yet. She goes, oh, it's funny how your memory only works in one direction. So receive it now.
You did very good, Alice. There.
I did. Thank you. What are some other takeaways? Thank you. Did that help?
Pretty much you're redirecting all that energy you put into envy or jealousy, whatever, that negativity and positivity.
However, here's the beginning, right? You said envy, and we already said jealousy over here, right? So, what you would do with yourself is you look at yourself and go, wow, I'm looking at myself. And you go, interesting. I'm looking at myself. Interesting. Okay. Interesting. Fascinating. Why am I thinking this way? That's fascinating. Wow. Why do I think this way? I'm curious. We need to become the first experiment, right? We're really the only experiment. We're just trying to make other people the experiment for a little bit because we take the focus off us, because sometimes it's so painful. I don't want to be my own experiment. Shit, I'm not changing. What's wrong with me?
Can I do a little commercial? No, you weren't planning.
Yeah, do a commercial. Jackie's going to do a commercial. You put some more things into here. I want to read your comments. I read them after this is over, so I'll read your comments. Arvan, I will read your comments.
So,
go ahead.
all of this stuff that she's teaching, she practices. in her life on a daily basis. That's how I knew the word interesting, right? I mean, I walked back in the room, she asked me some question out of the blue. I had no idea what she was gonna ask me, but that's how I knew the word because she practices it. Okay. Abolish is no bullshit. Okay. If you haven't got your ticket yet, you need to get your ticket because these things that she's been teaching for last month are the icing on the cake. She goes deep. She uses this stuff all the time. And she's the real deal. And abolish, yeah, it's okay. So she's doing all of the prep for abolish for you guys and for those that you love that you're going to bring to the seats of abolish.
And take it to your life.
And it changes lives on a very deep level. You can ask anybody who's been there, you know.
Well, they're in the room.
Carolyn has been there. Some of you have been, we started abolish at a location we had when we first met. And it was just a Friday night thing, right? And it was incredible. And then it became a Friday and a Saturday, a Friday night and a Saturday. And it was even better. And then when we got a big space, we went to the full weekend. And I can't even tell you, she goes deep with people. She does intervention with people. She did a little one the other week, you know, with you. But she goes.
That was a small one.
Yeah, that
Give me a taste.
was a little one, little taste. So this is really the icing on the cake and abolish no bullshit. If you want to change your life, if you've got something that you want in your life, some deep wound that you want to heal, you know, show up to abolish. So get your ticket. Support this woman for supporting you and get your ticket. Because I can tell you this, those tickets, what, $3.95?
Yeah.
That's insane. Okay. Like if I had a choice of how she sold her tickets, you know, it'd be $9.95 for a general admission. Right. And it's $9.95 discounted or something. I don't know. Her prices are crazy. Show up to abolish. Love you.
Thanks. Wow, that was impromptu. Abolish and all the tools came out of my own work. I was in a very dark night of my soul. I had a moment where I was going to take my own life. And so we won't go into that tonight, but obviously I wasn't successful. There's some things you don't want to be successful at. But what came out of that was a knowing and an appreciation for life in a way that I'd never felt it before. And a desire to live. And so what I saw I was gifted with was the despair that humanity has in it. The despair and the pain and the anguish and the fear and the loneliness. And I was taken down deep so I could feel it. And I'm grateful because even now in the run up since October till now for abolish, I'm being reminded of this. I'm being reminded and put in the pain and the anguish and the impossibility because I want to connect with you. I'm not here because I have some kind of righteous answer and just do what I freaking say. I get it. And I also get that these tools work. And it works like this. It's not like you have to go to some kind of mount, cave, Buddhic, vegan thing.
That's the other thing I want to say. Over the weekend, you will embody these strategies because she does go deep with it.
It's instant shit. I like it simple. Was it simple? It's simple. Simple. Just I was gonna have you partner, but we're out of time, so you have to come back. Okay, so we have the handouts for if you want the tickets, you get your tickets. There's QR codes. Just get your tickets. If anybody needs payment plans, I'll give you payment plans. I'm more attached to you being there and getting the shifts in your life than I am to, us having to deal with the money situation. So whatever's in your way, don't let it be in your way.
When you register and you put the money down,
Yeah, it does. Everything begins. In fact, Didi, you're probably in it because you bought a ticket. Huh?
Hasn't it already begun?
It has begun. It's begun. You're in it. So, that, and then we have a talk next Tuesday. Dr. J's doing a demo here in the office. And that's fun. So you get to see her form of chiropractic. And then I'm just getting this into your inbox over here for you to get
Tina
it.
Marie always leads with the talk.
I do. I set things up for fun. Then the week after that, we're having a personal development pizza party on the 21st. What's that mean? You're gonna have pizza and wine and all that other kind of stuff. Things that go with pizza. And we're gonna have another, I'm gonna give you another tool that will knock your socks off. So don't come with socks or they'll be knocked off. It's fun. So that one's a lot of fun. We're gonna give you 2 minutes to vent. And if anybody's ever wanted to know how to effectively vent, you're gonna learn it. No more venting for amateurs. You're gonna be mastery level venters, right? Professional venters. I'm a professional venter. If you're gonna bitch, you might as well bench press, okay? That's what we're gonna do. But more than that, you're gonna have fun because you get to hang out with like-minded people. Isn't that cool?
Yes.
It's just awesome to have a tribe of people that
And
get
we're
you.
gonna- Everybody shows up.
Yeah, they do. Free pizza and wine. Yeah, come on. Let's have a party. It's not a slumber party. Don't stay overnight. But that's on the 21st. And thank you for your time tonight. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you. And so I'd love to see you at Abolish. There's the order form there. And you guys know how to get to me and get to the team. And then if you know friends, you know, personal development is always great as a party. It's going to be amazing at the DoubleTree. It is a rock and roll party there. It is not boring. People go, oh my God, it's so many hours. No, time flies. You're not going to want to leave. It's so awesome. Trust me. It's a party like you've never seen before. So thank you. Love you guys.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for being here, and I'll see you next time. And in coaching.
Okay,
session.
thanks.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Everybody.